As I'm making this video, Rockstar Games has just released their December update for GTA Online, Los Santos Drug Wars. And oh boy, we have some stuff to talk about in this video. There are two key topics that I'm going to address today. The first is going to be a review of this latest DLC and the year 2022 in GTA Online. I'm going to cover the good and the bad parts about everything that's happened in 2022. And the next topic I'll be talking about is what this past year has shown us in terms of Rockstar's plans for the future of this game. This is something I haven't seen anyone address in GTA Online. Rockstar Games' game design has become an absolute joke. I have a lot to get into in this video. If you enjoy it, a thumbs up would be awesome. Subscribe for more stuff like this. And let's start this video off by going over the latest DLC and the latest year in GTA Online. The first notable thing that happened in 2022 was the release of GTA 5 and GTA Online on next-gen consoles. Now, when this was announced back a couple of years ago, the entire community was understandably very upset that it wasn't GTA 6. However, some of the community started to come around and get excited for what was hopefully going to be some really big improvements, both in terms of the gameplay side and the graphical side of GTA 5 and Online. But when these versions launched in March, the entire community was met with extreme disappointment. And when I say extreme, I mean extreme. The only noticeable differences between the next-gen and last-gen versions of GTA Online are a new menu system that happens when you load up the game, and the graphical and frame rate improvements, which we were expecting a lot more from, however, only mimic what the PC version of GTA Online and 5 have been getting since 2015. That's right, Rockstar Games' big release of 2022 was essentially the PC version of GTA Online on next-gen consoles. To add insult to injury, another few changes people were met with were a bunch of new exclusive vehicles that are faster and more customizable than those on last-gen consoles, exclusively being locked behind these next-gen versions, along with the unexpected feature of when you import your character over from last-gen consoles, it will delete it on old-gen consoles. Meaning, that's right, if your friends don't have next-gen consoles, you are going to have to make a decision. Do I want to play on next-gen by myself and delete my old character? Or do I want to not transfer over to next-gen and stick playing with my friends on the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game? Truly an absolute mess that no one was expecting. But as I'll get to in the rest of this video, that was merely the first of many disappointments for the GTA Online community in 2022. Fast forward to July, when Rockstar Games released the Criminal Enterprises DLC update. Understandably, the community had some pretty high expectations for this update, considering just last year, in the mid-year update, we got Los Santos Tuners, which most people have in their top 5 in terms of GTA Online updates ever. With Los Santos Tuners in 2021, we got an entirely new car meet space, an entirely new type of car with the Tuners vehicles, a new business with the auto shop that gave us 3 different ways to make money, including a new set of mini heists that, although weren't completely new content, sure, some of this stuff was recycled from single player, for the most part, was a pretty decent update to the game. Well, what do we get this year with the Criminal Enterprises DLC in the middle of July? A handful of new vehicles that really don't change the game at all, and a handful of contact missions. Yes, that's right, contact missions, the most outdated, underpaying, and unreplayable content in the entire game. This was the first update in 2 years that didn't give us a new property to buy. Also, considering the vehicles were really nothing special, it didn't give veteran players anything to spend their money on. But what's even more interesting about the Criminal Enterprises DLC is to make it look like there was more content than there actually was. Rockstar released a huge amount of patch notes that provided gameplay adjustments to the game. Things like an Oppressor Mark II nerf, a massive Cayo Perico heist nerf, meaning that you quite literally cannot start the Cayo Perico heist for almost 3 hours after you complete it solo, along with many other patch notes, which, to be fair, a lot of these did improve the GTA Online experience. But what they didn't do was add new content for players to play. I think I speak for most of the GTA Online community when I say I played these missions, they were pretty fun, but outside of that, there was no other new content that I wanted to play, and my interest in the game very quickly faded. And you might say, but TGG, these contact missions were so good. You have to applaud Rockstar for that. These contact missions were, okay, sure. But over the last few years, like you, I would assume, I've been playing a lot more live service games. And when I play these other live service games that get updated either weekly, monthly, or maybe a bit longer than that between updates, it gives me perspective on how blatantly lazy Rockstar Games' game design has become. This is an issue I'll talk about when I get to the Drug Wars DLC review as well, but just alone with the criminal enterprises, these contact missions were okay, yes, but what do we have to do? Sneak into the FIB building for what, the 10th time? This is a completely reused location that takes zero effort to put into the game because we've already been there a million times. Break into some rich dude's apartment that is a carbon copy and paste of my apartment in the game. Another reused asset. Or maybe you might think I really enjoyed the hacking mission that is a carbon copy again of the hacking that was used in the Doomsday heist. Or hey, maybe it was that super cool Juggernaut final mission, which I do believe was the best mission in this DLC, but nonetheless, this has us going into the exact same area that we completed the Doomsday heist in, going to the exact same terminals to hack, killing the exact same Juggernauts that we killed way back in, 2017, when the Doomsday heist came out? Come on, Rockstar. So let's fast forward to Los Santos Drug Wars. And let's start with the good. What did I like about this DLC? Once again, we got a new set of contact story missions, which I'll talk about in a second, but overall, I thought the story was actually a pretty cool concept. A lot of likable characters, and it's clear that Rockstar Games had a bit of fun making some of these missions. Mainly, the one where you go on an acid trip. That one was particularly fun because it was a bit different, even though, yes, that is, again, kind of recycled content from the single player. We also got a new business. The Acid Lab pays pretty well, actually. It's one of the best businesses for making money in the entire game. It's also really accessible for new players, which I think the game has been missing, so that is pretty nice to see. We're also going to be getting a new cab company coming into the game, which I think people who like to roleplay will enjoy, and we'll also be getting a 50-car garage at some point, which, is pretty nice for car collectors who don't have any more space. Okay, let's talk about the bad. And unfortunately with this DLC, I have to admit, I think there is a lot more bad than good, because this is a massive missed opportunity for Rockstar Games. First things first, this was promoted by Rockstar to be a massive multi-part update. Those aren't words that I've come up with, that is a direct quote from Rockstar Games. Massive multi-part update. This is not true. Of course, these are words Rockstar will use in order to create hype for their game, but in terms of DLCs we've got in the past, no, this is not a massive update. Ever since Rockstar Games introduced the Cayo Perico heist, where there was quite literally an entirely new location for the first time ever in GTA Online, anything apart from a new location I don't think is fair to be billed as a massive update. Rockstar Games also promoted this DLC as a 2-part story update. This has caused a lot of confusion because most people assumed that this DLC would be a part 1 and we'd be getting a part 2 at some point early in 2023. This is not true. All of the missions and content in this DLC will be drip-fed. That right there confused a lot of the community, and understandably so. So let's talk about the story. Overall, I thought the story missions were pretty good, and when I say that, I'm talking in terms of the characters that were introduced, as well as the cutscenes and overall narrative. Outside of that, almost every aspect of these contact missions are copy and pasted from either single player or previous GTA Online DLCs. Let's have a look. The very first mission has us go out to Blaine County to Trevor's place. What do we have to do here in the first mission? The exact same thing we did as Trevor way back in 2013. This entire mission is a copy and paste of something Rockstar made 9 years ago. Let's go to the third mission in the story. What do we have to do here? We have to go to the Lost MC and blow up as much of their property as we can. That's pretty cool, right? Pretty fun? I guess it was pretty fun when I did it back in 2013 as Trevor. Yeah, that's right. Once again, this is a complete copy and paste from something Rockstar made 9 years ago. Let's talk about Mission 4, where our character gets drugged and goes on a massive acid trip. This actually was the most fun I had playing this DLC, and most of the player base has actually agreed with this. When we talk about the bright spots of this DLC, this mission will be the brightest. However, with that said, This is again very similar to what we did in the single player way back in 2013, but I will give this one a pass because it hasn't been done in a while and it's pretty fun. And then we get to the final mission, mission 6. In this mission, we have to sneak in and break into Humane Labs. Now, if this sounds familiar to you, that's because this has been done at least a handful of times in the game before. That's right, we did this as Michael back in 2013, again when the game launched, the single player. We also did this in 2015 with the Humane Labs heist within GTA Online itself. We also did this exact same thing last year with the Franklin Contract DLC. That was during one of the security contracts. We have to go and essentially break into the exact same interior. And those are only the times I can remember. I have a feeling there may have been other missions that involved us breaking into this exact same room as well. But either way, this is our fourth time inside this building on different missions at least. From there, our character has to get back in our car or steal a car and go and derail the train. This is actually pretty cool. I liked the design of the train when it got derailed, or the acid around it. It was very cool. However, breaking into the train, this was actually done last year with Los Santos tuners. So again, even this is slightly recycled. And those are only the 6 missions we've got. There are more missions coming out with this drip feed, and as leaked on Twitter, we can see that we're going to have to break into a plane, crash our plane into the back of a cargo plane, and this entire mission looks like it's going to be, one-to-one, the exact same as what we did as Trevor way back again in 2013. We also got a handful of new Dax missions. They're called Fooligan missions. Pretty fun. Honestly, the crop duster mission was something we thought we were going to be getting back way back with the original trailer for GTA Online back in 2011, but that feature never made it into the game, so it's finally here. That's pretty cool. But even then, these missions just feel the exact same, copy and pasted. Particularly the mission, for example, where we have to break into the weed farm, poison their supply, and get out and go on a drug trip. The amount of times I have been in this exact same weed farm is getting ridiculous now. It's a copy and paste of the business we have in the game. It was reused years ago with the Gerald's Last Play contact missions. It was also reused last year with the short trip Lamar and Franklin missions, and now it's getting reused again for this mission here. If you wonder why players don't get excited for new DLCs and don't see any replayability in them, it's because Rockstar is essentially just copy and pasting content and reselling it back to us, claiming it to be new. Instead, what I would have liked to see with this DLC, instead of more contact missions, was a new heist. Of course, I'm gonna say that though, seeing as I make videos on the game, but the reality is, heists are the only real activity that Rockstar has in the entire game right now that is somewhat replayable. And that is an issue in itself, and probably a topic for another video, but the reality is now it's been over 2 years since we've got a heist in the game. That is the longest drought ever in the game's history, so that's pretty disappointing to see. Let's have a look at my notes. What else? The new business. Okay, the new business is, like I said, a good way to make money, but the reality is, it is essentially a copy and paste of the 5 MC businesses that were introduced into the game years ago. Yes, it is much better for solo players, but the fundamental way this business works is literally copy and pasted. But no, TGG, this one's in the back of a vehicle, like the Terabyte, and like the MOC, right? Other things that are already in the game. So yeah, it's once again pretty recycled content. But you know what's the funniest part about all of this? Is this isn't a Terabyte or an MOC that the Acid Lab is in the back of. It's a Bricade. Yeah, the Bricade is literally in the game already. So while I do like the Acid Lab, Rockstar Games has essentially copy and pasted a business and put it in the back of a vehicle that is also copy and pasted. This is the Bricade 6x6, a carbon copy of the Bricade that came out years ago. Only difference is this one handles a little different and can tank more rockets, but I mean the design is the exact same. So I have to ask the question, what has happened to Rockstar Games' game design? And right now, I think the answer is pretty obvious. We kind of already knew it, but this year in GTA Online has cemented it more than ever. Rockstar Games is going to continue copy and pasting content, feeding it back to us pretending it's new, right up to the release of GTA 6, because that is what most of the employees at Rockstar Games are working on. Now, if you have given Rockstar Games money over the last 12 months, whether that's through their new GTA Plus subscription service, which I didn't even mention in this video, or through a shark card, you have the right to feel very, very disappointed with this. You are giving this company your money, and all they're giving you is content that you already had access to, just reskinned. And it's sad, you know, because GTA Online still has so much untapped potential. There's a reason the Cayo Perico heist is the community's favorite DLC of all time. It's because it's the only time since 2013 where we got a new map, an actual new place to explore in this game that we all, for some reason, still love. I'm one of them. I don't know why at this point. The reality is, until we get a new map, whether that's with GTA 6 or GTA Online or some future DLC, it will be almost impossible for Rockstar to give us content that is honestly new. Every single place in the GTA Online map has already had a handful of missions at that location, meaning any content Rockstar gives us in the future is going to be at one of these locations yet again. No matter how creative Rockstar Games gets with their mission design, the reality is we will always be going to the exact same locations, driving from point A, for Los Santos for example, to point B, Blaine County, for the 100th time. And when way back in the middle of 2021 with Los Santos Tuners, and at the end of 2020 with the Cayo Perico Heist DLC, Rockstar clearly showed that they are capable of still making good content. No, I cannot say 2022 has been a good year for GTA Online, and I'm pretty comfortable in saying this has been the worst 12-month period for GTA Online, possibly since the game came out. Unless Rockstar Games drastically changes something up and adds some sort of new location, new heist, or some crazily new mission design, the player count and overall interest in the game will continue to dwindle. Thank you for watching. I had to get my frustration out there somehow. Overall, the Drug Wars DLC, pretty big disappointment. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more stuff like this. I'm out. Hope you're staying safe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace!
Favorite color, money green. Paper. I've been on my grind since I was in the 7th grade. Had my first kid, I was only 17. Always a provider for my pack like Wolverines. But you won't find me on the